Good morning, Rotarians. Welcome to the August 1st seminar under the leadership of District Governor Darrell Keys. We'd like to open the meeting with remarks from Rotary International President Paul Garnack, given at the International Assembly in San Diego last January.
As you can see, Rotary is not just a club that you join. It is an invitation to endless opportunities. It opens opportunities to serve in a project as big and historic as End Polio Now, and also in a small community project where you just plant a tree. And it opens opportunities for you to live a richer, more meaningful life with friends around the world based on our core values. As Rotarians, we are blessed to take on leadership roles at this wonderful moment for our organization. Everything we do opens another opportunity for someone, somewhere. And therefore, the theme for our year is Rotary Opens Opportunities.
Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to review or see for the very first time the Foundation presentation that was given on August the 1st. Through the marvel of Zoom, we had over 100 Rotarians participate safely, and now you can be added to that list. The video presentation starts with past District Governor Sandra Hempstead, who is now the Assistant Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator for Zone 34. Before she starts, I want to thank Alfred Curran, our outstanding District Foundation Chair, who introduced his team to everyone. As you will see, there are a lot of pieces to this puzzle, the Rotary Foundation, and we hope that after this presentation, you will understand more about what is really your Charity Navigator top-rated foundation. You, as a Rotarian, should share the pride of being part of something bigger than any one individual or club. Nothing happens without your financial support and the work of those dedicated Rotarians delivering the services to others within your community and around the world. And now we pick up with past District Governor Sandra.
In the world. So I want to thank you all very much for your generosity. And I know, as share the same view as Alfred, that it's really about what we do with the money, not so much about the money itself. And of course, I'm just as competitive as anyone else. So I love being number 6 in the world. I think that's great. But it's really about what we do and the projects and how we help people around the world. You are all extremely generous, and generous not only with your funds, but also with your time. So I want to say a big thank you to those of you that have served your community, whether it's your local community or whether it's your community around the world, doing education projects and feeding people here locally, helping with water projects and the like, all the various numbers of things that you do around the world. You truly are amazing. I want to thank you for working together, because we know that together we accomplish much more than any one of us can do alone. So thank you, thank you, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I am so proud to be a part of this district. Thank you.
Very good. At this time, we have an opportunity now to hear from our past District Governor, Pam Akins, who will serve this year as our District Paul Harris Society Chair. Pam is a dynamo, needs no introduction, and you're going to learn to love her this year. So welcome, Pam.
Thank you, Alfred, and thank you, Sandra. Yes, last year was a great year, but I think we have a great team here. So despite COVID, I think Rotarians are still going to support the Rotary Foundation this year because we accomplished so much. And as Paul Harris Society Chair this year, I want to introduce those of you who are not aware of it to your ability to give at a generous level and to lock it in. That's the best part of Paul Harris Society. For over 100 years, Rotary has served communities here at home and around the world through the Rotary Foundation. But the foundation can't do that without your support. And one of the best ways to support the Rotary Foundation is by being a member of the Paul Harris Society. What is the Paul Harris Society? Well, it's named after, of course, Paul Harris. It recognizes Rotary members and friends of the Rotary Foundation who elect to give individual contributions of $1,000 or more to the annual fund, to Polio Plus, or even to a global grant. This program began in one district in 1999 and was administered by districts until the Paul Harris Society became an official Rotary Foundation recognition program in July of 2013. Its purpose is to identify, engage, and recognize members who have the ability and desire to make substantial annual gifts to help communities around the world. Now, why join the Paul Harris Society? Because of the good you can do through the Rotary Foundation. Donations at the Paul Harris Society level are crucial in order for us to continue making a difference in the world. From local projects done through our district grants that you'll hear about later, to large global grants that you'll also hear about, and our continued efforts to eradicate polio. So what can your $1,000 do? Well, it can do a lot. By giving $1,000 each year, you can have real impact on making the world a better place. You can provide vocational training for teachers at an early childhood education center in South Africa, water filters, toilets, hygiene training in India. You can provide over 1,600 polio immunizations for children in Pakistan and peace building seminars in Uganda. You can also, when you give $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation, you may be providing mosquito nets in Mali to prevent malaria, microloans to women in Malawi so they can support themselves and their families, or clean water, which we are involved with in this district in Haiti. You can even build special needs playgrounds, supply meals to needy families, and provide beach wheelchairs, all in Southwest Florida through the Rotary Foundation's annual fund share program. So the way you can join the Paul Harris Society, there's a couple of different ways. By joining the Paul Harris Society, you are electing to contribute at least $1,000 or more to the annual fund, Polio Plus, or Global Grant each year. And you can join it even before you have given to the foundation, and you do not need to make an immediate $1,000 contribution to enroll. And I'm happy to get you signed up right now. You can join by doing one of the following. If you can go to rotary.org/Paul Harris Society, and on that Paul Harris page, if you scroll about halfway down, there's a big join button that you'll see there. You push that button and it will take you to Barry, you need to go back up there, you need to go to the previous slide. There we go. You'll see the form that's on the bottom half of the screen there. And you can join right online, and that information goes right to the Rotary Foundation, and then we get a notice of it. You can also scroll to the bottom of that same Paul Harris Society page, and there's a bunch of links. And if you click on the link that says Paul Harris Society promotional form, you'll get the form that you see in the upper half of the slide there. You can print that form out and fill it in, and then mail it to 1 Rotary Center, Chicago, Illinois. The address is right on the form, and you can sign up that way. Or if you don't want to bother with any of that online stuff, just contact me, Pam Akins at akinsmarketing.com, and I'll get you signed up. And by the way, there's no T in the Akins. Pam Akins at akinsmarketing.com. Just send me an email and we'll get you signed up for the Paul Harris Society. Next slide, please. Now, you can make giving really easy also through Rotary Direct. Rotary and on Rotary Direct, you can charge a credit card or a debit card online. At Rotary Direct, you can select for any of those 3 areas that you can give to. And when you select, when you go to rotary.org/give and select, click on the donate button, you'll see a form come up that looks like the upper half, looks like the form you see on the right there on your screen. And you can set up your donation right there online. And so you would select annual fund or polio fund. If you're going to give to a global grant, you'll see that in the upper, there's like 4 things at the top. Global grant requires more information like the grant number. But generally you can go right online and make your donation here. Next slide, please. Now, Rotary Direct, the bottom half of that form lets you specify that donation. It can be a one-time thing, but if you're Paul Harris Society, we hope that you're giving every year, of course, and you can actually set up a recurring donation, and you see that's what we have selected there. Then you can select for how often you want that donation to be made. It can be monthly, quarterly, or annually, and you can select it for $85 a month, $250 per quarter, or $1,000 annually meets that Paul Harris Society requirement. But you know, if you want to give more, that's okay too. So we hope that we can make it easy for you, and by doing Rotary Direct, you can set it and forget it. So when you become a member of the Paul Harris Society, you get a certificate, and you will also get a little chevron that you see the PHS there that can be worn with your Paul Harris Society pin or any other Rotary pin that you might have. And we hope that you'll wear it with pride. You can wear it to all your club meetings. And as Daryl said, since we're not meeting together, even in the grocery store. I like that, Daryl. Not Daryl, that was Alfred who said that. I love that idea, Alfred. So next slide, please. And to celebrate all our Paul Harris Society members and Paul Harris Fellows in this district, our Governor Daryl has come up with this idea of a night of 1,000 Paul Harris Fellows. And oh, are we going to have fun? This is going to be an exciting and fun evening together. I don't know, I might get masks for all of us that we all look like Paul Harris, but I'm not shaving my hair, Daryl. And that is right now, we've set it a date of February 2nd. We hope that the world will be back to normal by then. If not, we'll adjust things. It will be at the Charlotte Harbor Event and Conference Center. And we want to induct a bunch of new Paul Harris Fellows that night and recognize a lot of new Paul Harris Society members as well. So join the Paul Harris Society if you aren't already a member. Make that commitment to the Rotary Foundation and be there with us when we celebrate the night of 1,000 Paul Harris Fellows. Next slide. So get on board and sign up at rotary.org or contact me, Pam Akins at akinsmarketing.com, and I'll get you set up. I don't want you to be left out. It's a real commitment. So thank you. Whatever you give to the Rotary Foundation, thank you. Thank you for trusting Rotary to use your contributions to making a lasting difference in the lives of people all around the world.
Thank you, Pam. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's hear from our past district governor, David Lusty, who is going to tell us about our global grants.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that, Alfred. First of all, I'll introduce myself to you folks. I'm David Lusty from the Venice Sunrise Rotary Club, and I've been given the opportunity this year, thanks to DG Darrell and our foundation chair, Alfred, to serve as the Global Grants Chair for our district in 2020 and 2021. My contact information is on the slide right now. If you would like, please make note of that. You can get my email at dlusty61@gmail.com or my phone number. You can contact me at any time and I'll always get back to you within 24 hours. My role as the district grants chair is to help our district's clubs successfully plan, budget, implement, monitor, and complete international global grants. So a little bit about global grants. First of all, a global grant involves 2 Rotary clubs and/or districts in 2 different countries. So a global grant, unlike a district grant, is always an international project. Global grants have to have a minimum budget of $30,000, and they must involve one of the 7 areas of focus from the Rotary Foundation. And most of you are aware that we had 6 areas of focus, which were promoting peace, fighting disease, providing clean water, saving mothers and children, supporting education, growing local economies, and we just added preserving our environment. So the Rotary Foundation's global grants support those efforts in communities worldwide. Your club must qualify for a global grant each year, and that's having one of your members attend the Global Grant Management Seminar, which was held in April, and having your president-elect sign and your president sign the Memorandum of Understanding. We have done a great job in our district. All of our clubs are qualified this year for global grants, and all of the MOUs are in. So congratulations to our club presidents and president-elects for being on top of that. Now, there's been a big change this year, starting with the trustees. In July 1 of this year, they made a change because we were so overwhelmed with responses for grants that we actually kind of ran out of money, that the World Fund will no longer match the 50 cents on the dollar of cash donations to a global grant. So that's a big change that all clubs need to be aware of. Next slide, please. However, you still have an opportunity to leverage your contributions, because in our district, we will exchange a contribution to the Rotary's annual programs fund of $1 with $1 of district designated funds. And that $1 of district designated funds still qualifies for a dollar for dollar match by the World Fund. So you can take that $1 donation to the annual programs fund and turn it into $2 for your grant project. And we will match, not match, we will exchange that money up to $15,000 per grant, as long as dollars are available in our district designated fund kitty. Now keep in mind, a contribution to the annual programs fund is not part of your grant's proposed budget. Some clubs get confused on that. You're making a contribution to the annual programs fund. We exchange that. You give us $1, we give you $1 back. That dollar is district designated fund money. That goes into your grant budget, as does the dollar for dollar match by the World Fund. Okay? So when you get ready to do a global grant, the first thing you probably want to do is check to make sure that your proposed international partner, club, and district are qualified to participate. There's been times when global grants have gone way down a road of getting developed, and then come to find out that the club or district you're working with overseas is not qualified because they have not paid their dues or they're behind in reports. So I can tell you, you don't want to go down that road, and don't ask me how I know this. I've done it from experience. You always want to check on that first. The best way to do that is by calling the Rotary Help Center, phone number's on the slide, or emailing the Rotary Support Center at rotary.org and simply asking, is this club in this district available to do global grants, and are they qualified? That's a good step that I would say that will save you a big speed bump from the beginning. Okay, how do you apply for a global grant? It's done through My Rotary. Now keep in mind, there are 2 different websites that you have to be able to understand to work with for grants. District grants, which will be talked about in a moment, are done through DACDB. International grants that are global grants are done through My Rotary at www.rotary.org. So if you do not have an account at My Rotary, you need to set one up. You can do that by going online, and you will need to know your Rotary ID number to do it. That ID number is above your name on the mailing label of your Rotary Rotarian magazine. Very easy to find, okay? Grants can only be submitted online. They can be done anytime, and if you're going to use that district designated fund exchange for annual programs fund contributions, that will be funded and received and approved as long as we have the funds available, okay? So make sure your grant is eligible before you write the grant, and if you have any questions, please contact me. I can review the grant, and I will make sure that all the criteria is met. I can probably get you through the process with minimal speed bumps. I've done a number of these. And then I would recommend the grant for approval to District Governor Darrell or to our District Rotary Foundation Chair, Alfred. They're the 2 that actually sign off on the grant. If you need direct support from the Rotary Foundation, our grants global officer, or global grants officer, is Renee Reiling. Her email is up on the board right now in front of that slide, renee.reiling@rotary.org, as is her direct phone number. So you might want to jot that down, because if I don't know the answer, it's like the library, haven't read all the books, but I know how to look something up. That's where I'm going to go to find that answer. Finally, I can tell you, I have personally participated in Rotary Foundation grants for many years. I wrote the first matching grant back in my club in Ohio in 1991 for a water well project for potable water in India. I had the opportunity to visit that project in 2006 as a group study exchange team leader. And as far as sustainability, that grant, which was provided in 1991, 29 years ago, is still producing potable and clean water from that project. I have been on medical missions to the Philippines, and I've had an opportunity to see firsthand what we can do when we help people through global grants. Some of the global grants in our district are supporting portable water in Peru, providing cardiac programs in Bolivia, surgeries for children in Jamaica, cleft lip and palate surgeries in Mexico, prosthetics and orthodontics in India, safe drinking water in Guatemala, the Hand Wash Project to bring potable water and good sanitation to the entire country of Haiti, and cataract surgeries and blindness prevention in India. Finally, I'd like to wrap up by saying how much I appreciate the opportunity to serve as your Global Grants Chair this year, and to thank each and every one of you for all of your efforts on behalf of Rotary, especially the Rotary Foundation. It's truly and deeply appreciated, and I'm excited to work with you this year. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, David. We appreciate your service to our district. Next, we're going to hear from Steve Bordas, who is a past president of the Rotary Club of Lakewood Ranch, and he is going to be our district annual fund chair. So Steve, take it away, buddy.
Steve, you might be muted.
Okay, so I got outside on Steve Bordas from Lakewood Ranch. I'm going to talk to you about the annual fund. Through the Rotary Foundation, the annual fund, it transforms your gifts into service projects. So when you give money to the annual fund, that money comes back to us in 3 years. So we get to use half of that money to fund the projects that we think that are important to our clubs and to our district. We get to do that every year that you give. Last year, through Pam's leadership on this annual fund, we actually collected over $1 million. So we'll get that money back in 3 years that we get to give this to. So it's some big shoes to fill this year. So hopefully I'll be able to do that, and we can work together. We can get over $1 million again this year. So since this was founded in about 100 years ago, the foundation has spent over $4 billion on life-changing and sustainable projects around the world. In 2018, they gave $86 million back to communities, over 1,306 grants. The donations that you provide today gives us the opportunity to do good deeds around the world in the future. Through your donations, the foundation has been able to help people around the world with children from polio, provide a safe environment for mothers and children. It's also given locally in the United States, they've built water wells and brought solar power to Navajo Reservation in Colorado, and they rebuilt homes in Puerto Rico and the Bahamas after devastating hurricanes. Often, a lot of times when there's a natural disaster around the world, Rotary is the only one that actually shows up sometimes. So when there's nowhere else to turn, they turn to Rotary. So when you give to the annual fund, we are there to help when the need is needed most. And the benefits of giving, but that's easy, right? It makes you feel good all the time. Whenever you give, you get more back than you've ever given before. And the projects that you help fund changes the lives of those individuals everywhere around the world. As a charitable arm of Rotary, we tap into this global network of 1.2 million Rotarians who invest their time, talent, treasure, their expertise in different projects around the world to help us sustain life-changing projects. Through the district grants and local clubs, we are able to fund those projects in the communities to what we think is important during this Rotary year. We do that through our district has a foundation group that will sit with all of our clubs, their presidents, or send somebody to represent them so that they can say, these are the projects that we would like to fund. We vote on them, and then we use that money that we received from 3 years ago to fund those projects. How can you give to the annual fund? Well, Pam kind of went over that already. You know, the easiest way is what we do in our club. We give $25 every quarter. It comes on our bill. You don't even think about it. You just pay your bill and it goes in, and there goes $100 over the course of the year. You can also go to Rotary Direct, do a monthly draft. If you give $85 a month on a monthly draft on your credit card, it's a dinner out once a month that you would spend $85 easily at Bonefish Grill, you know. So if you just give $85 a month, you could become a Paul Harris Fellow within a year. If you do that for 10 years, you're a major donor. So you can go online through My Rotary, you can write a check, you can give it to your club treasurer and they can make the deposit. Or you can just mail it in directly to Al at the district, or you can mail it directly to Rotary. Individuals you can recognize, one of the ways you get recognized is through the Paul Harris Fellow. You give $1,000, you become a Paul Harris Fellow, you get the pin, you can put it on your lapel, you can walk around and be all proud. As Pam said earlier, you can be a Paul Harris Society member if you give $1,000 annually. So that $85 a month that you will never miss, it's like, you know, a few cups of coffee basically, that $85 a month over 10 years, you can become a Paul Harris Society person and a major donor, just not even thinking about it. And then if you do your estate or your will, you put $1,000 into your estate that says you're going to give $1,000 to the Rotary Foundation, you become a benefactor. If you do a bequest society for more than $10,000 in your estate or your will, or you can become an Arch Pump Society member, like we have several here today on our call, for $250,000. Now that might be a lot, but if you do it in your will, you won't miss it. So then your club can also be recognized. So as you go through this, every Rotarian every year is just a way that Rotary is trying to get every Rotarian every year involved into the foundation by giving. You can be a 100% Paul Harris Club. Now that's a one-time event. So it's a snapshot in time that if every member of your club is a Paul Harris Fellow at that point in time, you will get that banner that you can hang that says we are a 100% Paul Harris Club. Even if the next year you did not qualify, you're still a Paul Harris Club. One of the ways that you can do that is we have recognition levels. Now, we like the money. So if you can give your members to give the $1,000 to become a Paul Harris, we like that much better. But you also can use your recognition points that you have in your club that you can split with the members of your club. So you got some people who are close to being a Paul Harris. They've given you $700 over the last 7 years or so. You can give them 150 points and they can give $150 and boom, there's $1,000. They got Paul Harris. You can do the same thing with the foundation giving. If your 100% members give $25 every year, you become 100% foundation club giving. Okay, next slide. All right, so then, so the Rotary year, and like I said, Pam did a great job in 1920. We had $1,015,627 that went into the annual fund. We'll get half that back for the grants that David had spoken about just a few minutes ago. We had 461 new Paul Harris Fellows, 207 Paul Harris Society members, and 219 eligible. We had 24 major donors, 2 bequest societies, 3 benefactors, and we've had a few Arch Club Society members start last year. So 2020, we have some nice goals here. So one of the things we like to do is actually get better than we did last year. We always want to improve every year. So my goal next year for here is about 1.1 million. We'll see if we can get there. But Paul Harris Fellows, if we have people, like I said earlier, that are close to becoming Paul Harris Fellow, let's encourage them become that, to give some money and use some recognition points to get them to the next level. Major donors, we could do the exact same thing, but you can't use recognition points for major donors. You actually have to use money, the $10,000 to do that. But the beautiful thing is, you can do a pledge. So you don't have to give $10,000 all at one shot. You can do it over time. So like when I did mine over a 3-year run. You could do the same thing with the Arch Clump Society too. You can pledge over a period of time that you're going to give this money. So $10,000, that's $3,400 a year. You can do that 3 years and boom, you're a major donor. Okay? So for everybody who is getting close to that, we can run our reports and we can see who the next ones are. For the benefactors, like I said before, you'll do that through your will. The Bequest Society, you do that through your will. And then Rotary Direct Giving, Pam already talked about that, but just go online, make it simple, do it automatic, $85 a month, no problem. So like I said, our goal for next year is 1.1 million. But we need your help from the club presidents. We need you to enter your goals into My Rotary and Rotary Club Central. There are 14 clubs out there that has no goal for the annual fund. We need you to go in and at least put your goal in that you're going to give, because you already have a lot of members in y'all's club who have given to the foundation. So you can see how much you gave last year and make that your goal. Make it simple for yourself. Then the foundation chairs in your club, they can run the reports to see who's getting close to achieving the next level. And then you can tap them on the shoulder. Hey, Steve, you know, you've given $800 for another $200. You can become a Paul Harris Fellow, or, you know, a Paul Harris +1, +2, +8, depending on what level you are, or get to the next one to major donor. You do the same thing, and you can do it indiscreetly. You know, just tap them on the shoulder or send them a little text or an email and say, hey, give me a buzz. I want to talk to you about becoming a major donor because you're really close. Then how can we help you? Well, we can help by, you know, getting you through education. Any one of the members on this team that we had talked to you so far and that we'll talk to you in a few minutes will be glad to do a Zoom meeting and give you an education about it. So we can, you know, take a few minutes during your club meeting on Zoom, tell you about what the Rotary Foundation does, the importance of the annual fund, and how the global grants work. We can also do a next given level report. So just by running your report so you can see how this all works, okay? So just let us know. You can contact me. My number is right there. My email is rsborders@gmail.com. I want to say thank you to all of you guys that's coming in here and took your time out this morning. It's a very busy day, but so thank you very much. And I believe that giving freely and the support of others is our way to give back to the community. It's our gift to humanity and the world. So through your donations, the Rotary Foundation, we can help leave behind a better world than what was given to us. And that really is the goal of humanity, to improve us and leave back more than what we were given. So thank you very much. One person can change the world, so give to the Rotary Foundation so we can change the world. Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much, Steve. We look forward to your leadership this year and all that you've done and are going to do. So next up, we have our world famous, internationally acclaimed, galactically acknowledged Richard Hall, who's going to tell us a little bit about district grants and how we operate here in District 6960. Richard?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being on the call. I'm just going to do a little bit of a brief overview on how the process runs here in our district. Next slide, please. So first question, who actually reviews the applications and allocates the available money, the available funds? So it's handled by the District Grant Committee, which also is known as the Share Committee. I am the chairman of that Share Committee. I'm a proud member of the Fort Myers Sunrise Rotary Club. Been a Rotarian for 17 years now. So I'll be the chairman of the Share Committee, and that appointment is for a 3-year term. This is my first year, so I'm getting up to speed. I think with the help of of Alfred and the others, I think I've got a pretty good handle on it. The chairman of the committee is a non-voting member, so I don't vote. My job is to administer and to facilitate the process. The voting committee members, there's an error on this slide, but the voting members consist of the current district governor, Daryl, the district governor-elect this year, Andy, district governor nominee this year, Neil Snyder, Alfred Current, that's, I accidentally left you off of this slide, Alfred, profuse apologies. Without Alfred, he's been so helpful and done such a great job. He's helped me out a lot personally, so thank you, Alfred. So Alfred is also a voting member of the committee as Rotary Foundation Chair. And then we have one representative from each of top giving clubs that have given to the annual program fund. That representative is designated by each club. Those clubs are the top 2 giving clubs in total dollar amount and the top 3 giving clubs in per capita giving amount for the previous year. That makes up 10% of our Rotary clubs in the district. I don't have this on the slide, but I was looking at the numbers last night. It's 10% of the clubs, but those 5 clubs, it's almost half of the total district giving to the annual program fund last year, 47+% to be exact. So those are those clubs have a voice in the committee and a vote in the committee as to what's going to happen and how the money is going to be allocated. So this slide, where's the money come from? We've already talked a little bit about that. Alfred and David, I think, both mentioned that. It's money that has been sent by our district to the Rotary Foundation Annual Program Fund 3 years ago. So, for example, it was the money that we sent in for the Rotary year June 30, 18 that we're using this year. So 50% of it basically comes back to us, and that 50% is divided equally. So basically 25% of it comes back to us and goes into an account for the district global grants, which is actually held at Rotary International. And that is administered by past district governor David Lusty, who you already heard from. The other 25% of that money that we had given goes into an account administered here at the district level for district grants, and that's to be put back into our local communities. Of course, that's the Share Committee, which I chair. Next slide, please. So the current process for administering district grants for this year. Applications for grants had to be in by yesterday, July 31st. So what's going to happen now between today and August 15th? I'm going to do a preliminary review of all the grants. I'll contact you contact your club if anything appears to be missing or if I have questions or clarifications need to be made. So basically I'm going to get my ducks in a row, and then on August 15th, the share committee will meet via Zoom and we will review the grant applications and allocate the available funds to the grants using a framework that our district has in place, district grant priority levels, which are published on the DAC-DB website under the grants section. Your clubs will all be notified shortly thereafter via email regarding what the status of your grant application and the decision that's been made by the share committee. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to give you kind of an overview. I was a little bit involved last Rotary year helping Andy Lyman, who was the chair of the share committee. So, and of course now this year gotten much more involved, and so I just wanted to give you the last couple of years. So basically last year we were able to complete 61 district grants, and we gave out a little bit over $194,000. This current year we have actually we had another application late yesterday after I put these slides together. So we have 46 grant applications this year, and there's approximately $200,000 available in available funds this year. Last year, we were actually significantly oversubscribed, and the share committee had to make some tough decisions and had to make some cuts based on our district grant priority framework. This year, it appears that we also may be oversubscribed by a little bit of a smaller amount than last year. Next slide, please. So, future, what's going to happen in the future with the district grant process? Future changes, possibly. District leadership's always looking at it. How can we improve the process? How can we make it easier? How can we make it better for everyone? And ultimately, that share committee, the share committee that for the current year is the responsible committee that will discuss and approve any changes. There are some ideas out there, and they will be presented and discussed at the August 15th share committee meeting, and we'll see what happens moving forward. As I mentioned earlier, the current district grant criteria is posted on DAC-DB under the grants section. If there are any future changes to our process, all the clubs will be notified via email, and the changes will be posted on that DAC-DB grants section. So I believe that kind of summarizes where we're at, and thank you all for being here, and thank you all for your generosity in giving to the Rotary Foundation, and we'll move on. Thank you.
Kudos to Richard Hall. Thank you very much, and to Andy Lyman. Those two guys have absolutely worked like little soldiers and worked their fingers to the bone on this district grant process and made it very transparent. It's all on DAC-DB. You can see for yourself. So thank you so much for all that you guys have done for this past year, and Richard has this thing well under hand going forward. So next, we're going to hear from our past district governor, Steve Schlueter. He's going to tell us a little bit about our major endowment gifts and how you can participate. Steve?
Thank you, Alfred. Well, we've only got 5 minutes together, Rotarians, so let's just rock and roll and get after it. Basically, there are 3 ways that you guys can get, 3 funds you can give your money to when you donate to the Rotary Foundation. One is the annual fund. One is restricted funds, our most famous being Polio Plus, and then there is the endowment fund. So What I want you to do is think about the annual fund as being your checking account. You know, that's where you put the bulk of your money. It goes in, you spend it on project, it comes out. It doesn't build a balance really. In some cases, we don't have anything in it. Well, you wouldn't know about that, but it's just a checking account. Think of the endowment fund as your savings account or your 401k plan. You put money into the endowment and it stays there. The principal is never spent, but it is put to work. It does earn money. It's invested. Now those earnings come back and they are spent. That's what does the projects through the endowment fund. Next slide. Like every fund, the endowment fund also has a goal, and the goal for us is we want to have $2.025 billion in it by 2025. Now this slide just became old yesterday. I got an updated one, but you can see that as of May, we were at $1.3 billion. I can tell you that last month alone, the commitments to the endowment fund went up by over $6 million. So that continues to grow too. Next slide, please. All right, let's get into the meat of the endowment fund, because the endowment fund is where many, if not most, Rotarians start to gravitate to when they are ready to set up a legacy for themselves. They found their passion, whether it be clean water or education, literacy, and they want to set up a legacy for themselves within Rotary. This is the tool to do it. Next slide and last slide, please. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 real simple examples on this, but there's a lot more, so I'm hoping you'll call me down the road when you're ready to set up your legacy. Let's say that you are a member of the Paul Harris Society, okay, and you are a level 1 Bequest Society member. Did you know that if you were to increase your bequest to level 2, which is $25,000, that you would theoretically have the same impact that you're having now as a Paul Harris Society member forever? I mean, forever, which is pretty cool, because your bequest will spin off approximately the same $1,000 that you're now giving while you're alive. Okay. Number 2 example, same thing. Let's say you're a member of the Paul Harris Society, but you haven't had the opportunity to join the Bequest Society yet. You sit down with Steve and you say, I want to get involved in the Bequest Society. I'll sit there, we'll talk about it, and we'll decide to bring you in at level 2 or above. So it's at least $25,000 in one gift. That by making it in one gift, you get an opportunity to actually name your own endowment fund. So you get all the advantages that we just discussed in number 1, plus now you're going to name your own endowment fund. We'll call it the Steve Schlueter Endowment for Share, just as an example, all right? The only problems with number 1 and number 2 is you have to die. I'm sorry, but that's an issue for some people, and we hope that doesn't happen soon. But let me give you our 3rd example. Our 3rd example, it doesn't matter if you're in the Paul Harris Society, and it doesn't matter if you're a Bequest Society member, but you have the financial wherewithal to make a $25,000 or greater gift to the endowment fund. Okay, it doesn't have to be cash. It can be an annuity, it can be stocks, bonds, etc. Anything that's a cash vehicle, you can do it for. And as pointed out by Steve Bordas, it doesn't even have to be all in 1 year. You can spread it over a pledge of 3 years to get there. The advantage of doing it with cash is it opens right away. So now you have that Steve Schlueter Endowment for Share, and it's open for business. So let's say I do join the Bequest Society and I join at whatever level, let's say $10,000. I can funnel that into my endowment fund. Or let's say that I got a nice refund check from the federal government and I don't need it at the moment. I can funnel that into my endowment fund. So my endowment fund keeps growing, keeps spinning off money. And since it's for share, it's coming, 50% of those earnings are coming back to our district to use in district grants and global grants, which is kind of a cool thing. And legacy wise, I mean, if you want to look at it this way, every district governor and district Rotary Foundation chair at the beginning of the year gets a report that shows how much district designated funds they have to use for the next year. And that report is itemized. So on that itemized report, it is going to show they got X amount of dollars from the Steve Schlueter Endowment for Share. So I'm at 5 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm 50 seconds past me, so stick a fork in me. I'm done.
Thank you, Steve Schlueter. We appreciate your leadership. And for those of you who just heard that, he is also an Arts Clump Society member along with his beautiful bride, Pam. So thank you for doing that. Our last presenter this morning, last but not least, is our immediate past district governor, Rich Kirshner, who is going to talk about one of his passions of the Polio Plus program. Rich?
Well, good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for sticking with us. This is a lot to absorb in a short amount of time. But I want to remind you that polio is the #1 program of Rotary. Since 1979, we have been trying to eradicate this horrible disease that mainly strikes children. Today, these are the figures as of today. I want you to look at them for just a moment and let them kind of sink in as to where we are. And these last numbers are going to be the most difficult to bring down to zero. Next slide, please. This is where we have been. In 1988, when we helped to form what is known as the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, which teamed us up with the World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control, many nations around the world, and the Gates Foundation. We had over 3 billion children that we were vaccinating over all this time to get to the point in 2019 where actually there are only 2 red countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, as Nigeria has now been declared polio free. Next slide, please. Last year in our district, we set an all-time record for giving to polio. I'm very, very heartened by the response of Rotarians. 41 of our 50 clubs gave to polio last year for over $119,000. I have set a goal for the district for this coming year of $150,000, which may sound ambitious, but here's how I think we can do it. If every member would donate 25 cents a day, 25 cents, you can hear it going into my Rotary cup right now. 25 cents a day. Every Rotarian, I believe, can do this. All you have to do is lift up the cushions in your couch and you might find a few of them there, or in a cup in your car. But for 25 cents a day, we can more than surpass the goal of $150,000, and we can help eradicate this horrible disease. Next slide, please. Governor Darrell has asked that we consider using Saturday, October 24th, 2020, which is World Polio Day, as a day where we host among ourselves, among our clubs, among our friends, a meal. And the meal may be in person or it might be online, but where you invite people to come and share a meal and donate the cost of the meal to Polio Plus. It's a day to help us promote the cause that Rotary has fought so long and so audaciously to end this disease. And we have a great story to tell. Our organization worldwide is known for this work. It is the work that helped set up the infrastructure that helped us to stop the COVID, not the COVID, but the Ebola disease when it erupted in Africa a few years ago. They used the infrastructure of Rotary to help go out and to contact trace people for that disease. We are doing the same thing with COVID. Many of the people who work for the Gates Foundation, Rotary volunteers around the world who are not giving vaccines right now, but are checking on people to tell them to wash their hands, to tell them to wear a face mask, and to practice social distancing. This is all done under the auspices of what we know as Polio Plus. So why do we do this? We do this for these children. And a quote that I heard many years ago is one that I'd like to end this morning and hope that you will consider as you think about your club and you as individuals supporting our Polio Plus effort. And the quote is this: "Perhaps we cannot prevent a world from being a world in which children suffer, but we can reduce the number of children who suffer. And if you don't help us, who in the world will help us do this?" Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you about this great program in the coming months.
Well, past District Governor Rich, we would like to say thank you very, very much for that. It's my understanding that we will have this slide deck made available to those who have participated, and for those who did not have an opportunity, that they'll be able to see that. In addition, all of these that you see on the foundation team with the contact information, if you go to your DACDB screen and go into the district committees, you will see listed a district foundation committee. If you click on that link, it will open up all of the contact information and all of the pictures, telephone numbers, mailing addresses of the team. So I'm so proud of our team and what we have to work with this year. I think this is going to be a banner year. We're going to knock it out of the park, because if it's not us, then who? If not now, then when? So Rotary, District 6960, we're going to take this this year, and we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to show folks what Rotary is all about. And with that said, thank you very much. And to those who have been working the sound